everything set up. And I'm gonna turn this down on my end. And real quick, we'll just get this going. Just in case. Put this to the side over here. Oh, I didn't realize the image would do that. That's okay. Let's see. Everything there. We can just make like a one-time template. I've never used this before, but I was on it last night trying to see like, how do I do this? Okay, so open Medibang, go down here. I kind of want to wait for, more people to show up. I'm not gonna lie. Make sure this is full screen too, actually. So we have some art. From like a long time ago. Actually, I need to keep one ear open. I need to listen for like my mom's package because no one else is home right now except me and Clive, and Clive's passed out in bed. Hello, welcome everyone. We're gonna be roasting and ranking my old art based off of how much I think they realistically like kind of hold up. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen today. I would have gotten like all the files like properly moved to cloud, but that would have taken too long, so I just copy and pasted all of them instead. So if any of them have like weird border stuff happening, oops. Regardless, it shouldn't be that hard to like figure it out. So we'll just like we'll probably snip like a pixel or two off of these just for the sake of everything. I think we'll go ahead and get started. We got like 3 viewers, it looks like. All right. And actually can't really have the dashboard up here because I'm going to be switching between 2 things basically. All right. So here's the first one that I have on the list. I should probably, these are in no particular order and I don't remember the exact times of when I did a lot of these. But I can guarantee that I did do them all. Like these are so old that this is like pre Medibang cloud text watermark. Like you could see, you just barely see the signature like down here. Oh my god. Anyways. So this was one of the arts that I've done like, that I did maybe back in 2018 or so. And no, not 2018. 2018 is too far back. I need to think. This was maybe 2019, 2020 already. I think it was 2020 or 2021 actually. There was a huge gap of time. I was not drawing nearly as consistency as I do today, but this is I can say for certainty that this is one of the arts where I really started using like the acrylic brush over the airbrush. If I zoom in, you can see my attempt at like texture and rendering. This was also the time period actually where I was experimenting more with colored outlines. I don't hate it. I don't hate this, like, at all. But it's not great. I like that the texture on the cat is super fluffy, actually. I think 20-year-old me did a decent job at that. It's been so long, Jesus Christ. It looks alright. It looks alright. The big thing for me, actually, is the perspective here. Because if we look at it, it's alright. I wouldn't say it's incorrect, but I wouldn't say it's totally correct either. These trees, the most glaring issue, personally, for me in this entire piece is the background. It's not very good. There's way too much here that's, like, trying to be outlined and trying to not be outlined, and it's kind of all over the place. This bush, you can barely see the bush, so, like, it doesn't sell the effect of being a bush all that well. The grass is alright. This is definitely one of my better attempts at grass from before. But I do remember this taking a little bit of a while and I was not having fun. Like, this isn't bad, honestly. The grass isn't bad, but the trees are the big issue for me. I don't like that these ones up front are outlined, actually, because, suddenly it makes it seem like they're supposed to be in focus alongside this character when they're really not supposed to be. Really, they should all be, like, solid shapes. It looks like what I did back here, actually, was I just took the brush and just painted the tree in without making a shape. And to explain that further, the way I do it now is I like to take a solid shape. So I'll take, like, a pen tool, like a regular brush tool, just paint in there, and then I'll put a clipping layer over it, and that's where I'm gonna do all, like, the rendering, the shading, the textures and everything for the trees. But I guess here, I just took the acrylic brush and just went hog wild, and it doesn't look great. The plants down here too, these also just shouldn't be outlined. I have ways of doing this now. I do remember, like, this taking kind of a long time. They're alright shapes, but there's just better ways to achieve this kind of effect. I do tend to like outlines a lot more, but not really for backgrounds so much anymore. I've redone this kind of, not this exact pose, but I have, like, done this over again. God, yeah. The outlines just severely need, a lot of thickening. You can't really see them. And more importantly, ideally the colored outlines should not be lighter than, like, the darker spots in the thing, but I guess they are. So, can't do much there. What do I think of this one for the tier list, though? Let's see. I have my clipboard there. This one, honestly, I think it's a solid A tier for the most part. I think I'm not completely, like, beat up entirely over how it looks or anything. It's just kind of there for me. So that's where we'll put it. And let's see, next up. Well, this one's gonna be fun. Real quick, let me just... By the way, this is not a jab at, like, beginner art or anything. This is just me embarrassing myself on stream by showing off stuff that I'd rather not be showing, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So, oops. So this is the next one that I have. Oops. So this was, I listened to Porter Robinson, not as much as anymore, but I used to listen to him, like, a lot. and one of his visuals for the World's Tour is this girl, this pink anime girl with headphones, with her hair kind of blowing in front of her. And I wanted to draw that. You know, this isn't bad action. This isn't terrible. You could see that it's still definitely my style. But the interesting thing about it to me is that it's cel shaded rather than the usual gradients that I use. There's a little bit of a gradient here, but not a lot. I like the colors a lot, actually. The colors are super good. This is, again, I want to say this has got to be around 2019 when I drew this. Because I think I drew this after I watched, like, the Second Sky live stream. That's when I think I did it. So around 2019, maybe end of 2019. It's not bad. I think it still, like, holds up decently today. Obviously, if I redrew this now, there's a ton that I would change. The size of the head, first of all. Just way too tall. Way too tall. Like, just, there's way too much up here. It's gotta be condensed a little bit more, I think. The headphones, I think, should absolutely be bigger. Headsets are huge on a person's, head. Outlines obviously need to be thicker. I don't know why my outlines were so thin back then. You could see it too, like, I was definitely, like, doing the whole dynamic line depth thing, but it's just, they were so thin back then. I don't know what I was thinking. It's like, it's so weird to see it. Because, like, I praise, like, how chunky and thick my lines are now. But looking back at this, it's like, I really didn't used to do this before, huh? I like the cel shading, too. I think the understanding of lighting here is actually super strong for 2019. And again, the color choice is just really great. Like, yes, I was drawing it off of an actual reference, but it's not bad at all. Like, for a recreation of something that I saw, it's not bad. I think I would have... I'm definitely gonna redraw this one because, I just think it would be a great one to, like, do over again. Oh, it's definitely gotta be, like, moved up, though. It's gotta be, like, more properly centered. Yeah, I think I'll definitely redraw this one again. I'll definitely, like, look at the reference again. Hi, Kira! Hello! I'm roasting the shit out of my old art. Except this one. This one's actually, like, not bad. Yeah, these tiers need to be fixed. If I was to change anything here, weird eyelid thing going on there. I don't know what I was thinking, but I would definitely fix that. Definitely would rather paint these rather than draw them in. The lines just need to connect better, otherwise that looks decent so far. Again, bigger headphone, better depth on the headphone too. This kind of looks like it's this part, like the way it just doesn't come out all that much kind of makes it look like it's part of her head. Or like it's a headband and not really like a headset. I agree, the concept and the pose is promising. Yeah. This was like 2019. I didn't even put a signature on this. This is crazy. Anyways, I think we're gonna rank this one now. So let's see. Let's just upload that real quick. I think this is definitely an S tier. We're starting pretty strong, but I guarantee you it's gonna go downhill at some point. But yeah, I think that's definitely one of my better old arts. If you missed the other one down here, it was this one. Which I gave an A, mostly because the actual object of focus in here isn't terrible. But I guess it makes sense that it's like one of the better looking ones, because it's like much closer to like today than it is than it is the other one. Alright. Oh boy. This one's cute. Let's see. Just gonna copy it real quick. Yeah, the one in the thumbnail, yeah. Of course, I of course are pro kitty. Of course, and we have to be pro cat here. I would love a cat, but a lot of my family is allergic, and my mom doesn't like cats, and we have 2 dogs, and I'm just like, okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, I would love a cat. I would get an orange tabby, name her Margarine. Anyways, when did I draw this one? I think this was, I want to say this was early 2020. You can see the start of like my chibi style. I've done it before, and you can see like before the chibi style used to have like colored outlines, just like these little like sort of button eyes. Not really button eyes, but just kind of like they're not they're eyes, but they're like like eye shapes, not like actual like eyes. And they all used to have like, I think a lot of them used to have a little blush. The hands are mostly the same. The bodies definitely have more definition now as opposed to back then. I don't hate this. I'll tell you what I'm not a huge fan of, though. The values, again, between, like, the shadows and the actual, like, color. Not super great. You can almost, like, it's, like, almost not rendered. And, it just doesn't look that good. See, the nice thing about the previous 2, right? You can see, like, the difference in color, like, very clearly. That one, it's a little bit easier because it's cel-shaded, obviously. This one, this was when I was starting to, like, push that whole, like, acrylic paintbrush more, not really so much the airbrush, and that's why you can see it. That's why you can see it. We're still seeing the rank. Oh, shoot, I'm so sorry. I was talking about this one. There you go. But yeah, colored, as I was saying, colored outlines. The bodies have more definition now. Sort of beady eyes, little blushes, pretty thin. I know I didn't keep this textured outline, for very long. I didn't like it because I don't like textured outlines because I used the fill bucket to do these things, or to do the color, so it just makes it like a little like annoying, the textured outlines, so that's why I don't do them. But like, it's cute. The biggest thing here is that the colors can stand to be like way more visible, and by that I mean like the rendering again is just way too soft. The perspective on this foot isn't terrible, actually. I'm surprised I was able to do that. The overall, like, composition is, like, good. I think this is another, like, A tier, honestly. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just, really, it's just cute. But I feel like because, I don't want to give it like an S tier just off of that. Like there's a lot of like issue I take towards this. The background doesn't have a lot of color variance, which it needs. The Drifloon honestly is the best looking thing in this entire thing. The kid, not so much. Again, it's just you can't really see everything that I was trying to do here. It's like really hard. Like again, if I zoom out to roughly about its actual size, those colors aren't really making a difference, and it's not hitting for me. So I think if we go back to the ranking, click this, there we go. Honestly, high B, low A, honestly. Wouldn't really call it an S tier. Just doesn't really, I'm, like, I like it, it's cute, but I don't know if I fully just, I don't know if I would put it, like, equal to something like this. Alright. Remember to do that. Here's the next one. Man, this one's the biggest piece we've had yet. Alright. So let's just take that again. This is again one of those drawings where I didn't use a watermark yet. I was still like actually signing things with my name and my last initial. So yeah, this one's really pretty. Like right off the bat. The colors again I think are just a really strong choice here. I like the fish. I like the fish a lot because it really adds to like the very like cool yeah, the glow fairies. They're fish. They're fishies, but yeah. I like that they have different expressions. I like that they are very like warm against basically everything because it's a very it's not monochrome at all, but it's definitely leaning towards like that monochrome look. And again, I was using cell shading. This isn't bad. Hang on. There we go. Now it's properly copied. This isn't terrible. The biggest issue that I see personally is the shape of the head. It's not really that good. You can't really see it, thankfully, because of the way that I chose to color this. But the shape of the head is not that great. The hair also kind of just doesn't like make sense up here. I would definitely fix that. I would make it even so like the hair wasn't going over the face like that. It would kind of be like flowing backwards like this and then like that. The clothing wrinkles actually are not terrible. I think before I would used to reference this skirt whenever I needed like to draw this shape because I could never remember how to draw the shape. But it's definitely like still like in desperate need of like some work here and there. The anatomy is also just like ouch. The torso way too small for the head and way too long. I know what I was trying to do here. Because when you lie backwards, I know breasts kind of like go like that a little bit. But this was not it. But the attempt here at shading is not terrible. The arm, unbelievably long. The hands, just kind of awkwardly big. I like this part. This part's really nice. I think it's overall just a good composition as well too. Like it's not terrible. I think moving forward, if I was to redraw this, which I might one day, I'm not sure if I'm sold on the idea of redrawing this one actually. If I was to redraw this, definitely do it. I think this is the one piece, right? This is the one, like, old art of mine where I think I would rather paint everything rather than draw it. So, like, I probably would just forgo the outlines entirely, and I probably wouldn't even, like... Maybe there would be, like, a slight outline, but I think I would actually make her part of the sky and have her hair just be, like, this sort of watery nebula where you get, like, these weird fishies. The fish, I think, really, like, pull the whole piece together, honestly. They're kind of the best part about it. Like, the shapes of them all aren't terrible. I like this use of negative space here. I think that was very smart of me to do. They don't look bad. They actually don't look all that bad. And again, I like the different expressions, like, on their eyes. Well, yeah, this is probably a piece I would, like, redraw, but, like, probably gonna lean more towards, like, the painting side on that one if I tried it. But yeah, I think the white dress, too, kind of, like, subtracts from, like, what over here from what would be the focus. No. I don't know where I would rank this one. Obviously the background too, actually. the background needs to be like more spacey. These stars are just so plain. There's that I have a better way of doing like night skies now. What do we think? I think this is definitely either A or B tier. I think I would give it an A tier, honestly. Not terrible. I'm glad we haven't been reaching the horrible, horrible art yet. I'm not sure if we're gonna have any, like, D tiers, actually. Because they're definitely not bad. I don't know, I'm trying to look at the previews here. They're a bit small and I can't see them. Alrighty. Well, in any case, I think this one... I think I could comfortably give this one an A. It's not bad at all. I think I mostly like the colors like way more. Like, again, one of the big differences between this one and the ones up here is that the colors just aren't pushed the way I want them to. And even so, you can tell that I wasn't really going for like a pastel color palette here because Driftbloom and the thing is still very like vibrant. It's just the values just don't sell the shadow effects that I was going for. And I think they absolutely should have, which is why I'm just putting it down there. I really like color, so there's a reason why these two are like, or these three are up here and this one isn't. Let's see what we got next. Ah, this one's funny. Alrighty, so this one, this one is interesting. Did I actually put shadows on this one? I can't see. Oh, hi, Jimmy! Hello, Jimmy man. No, he's upset at me for leaving him downstairs by himself. You wanna be on stream? No, he's gonna lie down there. He just walked in. Let me close my door real quick. Sorry, guys. Did you want to go out? Well, I'm not following you. I have a thing going on. I'm gonna leave the door open. Did I go for that Gorilla's art style by choice? I wouldn't really say that this is like the Gorilla's art style. This is just kind of 2D in my style, but yeah, this is 2D from Gorillaz. Listening again for any knock on the door or butters barking, because that's going to tell me if somebody's there to drop off a package. How do I feel about this one? This one might be the first C tier, honestly. I was kind of like happy about this one when I first saw it again, but looking at it again, it's just like, not great. I don't know when I drew this. I'm not gonna lie. I want to say this is 2019, 2020. You can just see that there were, like, my style was so inconsistent. That, or I'm just misremembering. I should really, like, look at the... I really should have looked at the dates on these, but I didn't, so here we are. Let's see. Right off the bat, there's just like a lot of glaring anatomy issues that I'm not super big on. The long neck here is just really off-putting. It's way too slender too. I would absolutely like extend this out a little bit. The face, just really, really awkward. I do like to draw like the eye coming out of the head a little bit, just because I think, it's more fun that way, and I don't like squishing the eye into a place that it doesn't really, like, fit, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like squishing the eye into the face. It's nice just having it come out and just worrying a little bit less about the like, realistic depth at the end of the day. Like, the hair looks alright. Just a bit shaggy. And a little bit flat, I'm not gonna lie. So, like, my big thing... this is really funny. I can't draw hair like this very well. 2D doesn't necessarily have, like, very, like, anime-esque hair, but it's, like, more towards that direction, in my opinion. And I just really struggle with it for some reason. So, like, this just doesn't really have a lot of volume. It looks very, like, flat, which is not great. The mouth is alright. I don't draw tongues anymore, which is an interesting thing. I don't know why. The teeth, I think, definitely are one of, like, the better things about this entire piece. Yeah, but overall, it's just, the anatomy is not good. It's, like, again, it's very flat. It's very, like, awkward, in a lot of spots. Like, the torso may be just about, like, the right size, but then, like, you pair that with the arms are just really, like, awkwardly lanky, and it's just, like, this is so, like, condensed, too. It's like, why is this, like, why is this pose so tight? And the background, too, is just not that great. This is cute, I think, but definitely not, it's definitely not enough to, like, really sell me on the whole thing. Again, there's not a lot of depth here on the headset. Kind of just looks like a headband. And there's, like, missing, like, there's these weird, like, spots of color that didn't get properly filled in. Which is weird because I'm such a stickler for, like, things like this. So it's weird that to me that these just didn't, like, get properly colored. I don't know why. The light should be way stronger. Computers are bright. And he's playing on a Mac. This is cursed. I definitely know this was back when, like, Revenge from Captain Sparkles was popping off again in the algorithm. So this is, hence the Creeper Aw Man there, but I don't remember the exact year that was taking place in. The colored outlines are not terrible again, but the biggest issue here is that the lines just don't look good. You can see there's little hiccups there, and then it comes out there, and it doesn't properly go there, or fill in all the way there. Here's another spot, too, that I noticed. It's just very messy, it looks very rushed, it doesn't look that great, and it looks lazy. But, you know, I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it, but there's just, like, everything that we've had so far followed, like, a lot of, like, really good art rules that I think I use now. This does not. Alright, so I think this is gonna be our first C tier. Like, again, I don't hate any of these, but I definitely wish I didn't have to, like, look at them again, because it's embarrassing. But it's okay, though. Anyways. Here's another one. Let me change this and check something real quick. Alrighty. So we're down to this one. I got like 20 old images. Oh, here's... Oh my god! Oh my god, Butters! Butters, what are you doing up here? You want to be up here? You want to be up here, Butters? You're supposed to tell me when there's someone at the door. Oh, he's so cute. Here, chat, look at this. Where is he? Can you go on the camera? I think he doesn't want to be... You could just barely see him right there. Do you see him? Yeah, there he is. Oh, you're saying hi. You're saying hello. What a surprise. What a surprise from Mr. Butter. Hello. I'm so sorry. He just came in all of a sudden. I don't know when Dad's coming back. Butters, you're supposed to be listening for someone to come to the door so I know when there's a package. Oh, he's so cute, guys. Hi, Butters. Butters, Chat says hello. Oh, isn't that so great? Isn't that so great for the butter dog? He's like, what are you doing up here? No. Hello, babies. Well, let's... well, we're gonna see how this goes if I try to continue doing what I'm doing right now. Butters, promise me you won't pee up here. It's gonna be very sad if you do. He's, like, mostly house-trained, but, like, he doesn't come upstairs a lot, so I don't know if he understands that this is part of the house, and he's not supposed to pee up here. Oh my god. Butters, please don't break anything. He's, like, sniffing my thing. Hello. Hello again. Oh boy. Did I select all of this already? No, I guess I don't really need to select, like, the whole thing. Because on tier list maker is just gonna turn it into a square anyways. You having fun there, butt stink? Oh, there he goes. Butters, if you're gonna be up here, I want you to stay where I can see you. What are you doing? I'm not coming downstairs. How about you just hang out up here, Butters? He's so cute. No one is home. I think he got, like, upset, and then he's like, what are you doing up here? Oh, Butters. Anyways, let's go to this one. I want to like this one more, I'm not gonna lie. This was, I think, another just experiment with, like, different shading techniques. And by that I mean, my acrylic brush, because this is we are approaching the acrylic brush area until we aren't, because this is all very out of order. It doesn't look bad at all, I think, but I'm not a huge fan of it. The background is incredibly bland for the most part, which on one hand is fine because all of the action is up here, but on the other hand it's just kind of meh. This is such like a... This isn't how you paint sunsets either, or at least it's not how I would do it anymore. There needs to be, like, way more purple up here, I think. Or, like, a little bit of blue, because it's not like the sun is, like, completely, like, down yet. Like, there's still... Or, like, nighttime should be creeping in. These glints of, like, lens flares and everything don't really make sense to me. Because if this is... I want to say this is the sun, but they're coming in such a way where it's like the angle of light is up here. You know, that doesn't make sense if... I'm sorry, I just had to check where he was real quick. He's not here anymore. Maybe he'll come back. But like, you know, if this is the brightest point in the sky, right? So I have to assume the sun is around here. But the lens flares again are coming from up here, which doesn't make sense because the sun is not up here, it's down here, so they should really be more concentrated around that area. The sand also just doesn't look that great. It's not a bad texture for sand at all, but it definitely doesn't really, like, come across as, like, beach sand. This is supposed to be on a beach, I know that for certain. The perspective on the body is not super great. It's a alright attempt, but again, just really, really awkward, like, perspective and anatomy. It doesn't look all that good. The water, too, I want to love the water more, but this is just not it. And I was struggling a bit with it, but this is, again, not it. What is nice about it, specifically, is that there are just these streaks of, movement here, which do sell the idea that this is moving. It's just not really all that well done, in my opinion. Because this is, if I look at it the wrong way, it looks a little bit too much like hair, is the problem. The seafoam here, a good touch, though. I will say that. I'm gonna give it that. The magic effects, I like them. I definitely like them more than the water. I like that they kind of like tear into it and you can just kind of see like what's supposed to be the water rushing past it. I think it's a cool effect. I think it's definitely like one of my better ones from when I was younger. And this pose is definitely much, much better than this one. I don't know if I had reference for this actually. I might have, but yeah, this was the witch character. This is just like a little sparring between the two of them. The issue here is that she's a little bit high. I don't think she should have been as high and small as she was. If anything, I think I could have like lowered her a little bit. Or like if this was a different perspective, it'd be much better to just have her standing and doing this rather than up there. But it's definitely not terrible. The cloak is definitely a bit like strange and just kind of like I don't think I really knew what to do with it. The hat's just kind of a little bit off. The hands is not terrible. I didn't do the colored outlines here by the looks of it, which is interesting. I don't hate the black outlines. I think I'm definitely preferring them over the colored ones. I wouldn't have guessed that it's supposed to be water. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like, I know this is supposed to be water, but it just doesn't look like water unless I point it out. Which is exactly what is like one of the biggest things holding this piece back for me. I think I have a better, I would have a better way of doing this now. I haven't really experimented with moving water all that much yet, but, definitely not great. I do like that her sword kind of like manipulates it almost like a wand, but, it still looks like super awkward. Just not great. I think this definitely goes in like a C tier, for a lot of like glaring reasons. Like the lighting is cool, but so much of it is just off that I just can't really like let it pass. So we're just gonna put that right there in C tier. Do I think it's better than this one at least though? Maybe, actually. It's definitely, like, more visually interesting, so I think I'll do it like that. And I guess that begs the question here, which is better between these? I still like this one more than this one, I think. Cool. The colors are cooler over here, but overall, I think this one is just again, better mastery of, like, the things I've done already up to that point. Alright, let's see what we have next. Ooh. Ooh. Ouch. This is not good. Okay, we found another piece of art that does not, that is still using the airbrush as opposed to, the acrylic brush. Do I hate this? Not necessarily. This is more Porter Robinson fan art. This was one of his visuals. I don't know what the girl is called. I think her name might be Panda, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel. I like the colors, okay? I really, really love green. I think it's very underused, and I think the way that I used it here is very pretty and unique. That being said, the eye swirl in there is pretty cool. The anatomy is just terrible again. The neck is just really, really far off, and it looks like this is like even before I figured out like where to actually put the back of the neck in terms of the head. You can see a little bit of texture, like hairlines going there, but kind of not noticeable because, you know, most people aren't gonna zoom into your art. They're gonna be zoomed out kind of like this. Which is why, again, differences in like shadows and base colors and everything matters. Like, you need to be able to sell an idea like really quick. Which is why you'll see me zoom out a lot when I'm drawing and then zoom back in. The shadows just aren't... They're stronger than, like, the previous one that did the airbrushing, the little drift balloon one. But it's just kind of, like, it's not very good shading. It's, like, really awkward in a lot of spots. The perspective is not good on this hand. This is, Big McOuchie hours. The colored outlines aren't terrible again, but I think the colored outlines just kind of, are miscolored in terms of, like, what's happening on the actual, like, rendering and everything. Like, this should not be lighter than that, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's definitely not a bad effect, but it's definitely not ideal. Yeah, it's just... everything is so flat about it. I want to like it more because I really, really like green. I think I'm just... Ugh. I'm just not sold on it. I think this is one that I would like to redraw too. Man, and the shapes here aren't great either, because like the blocks just like that's not a good block up there. Like, it's nice and straight down here. Why is it so like wonky up here, you know? The background is nice. The background is definitely nice. I think if you touched up the blocks and made this person in focus bigger, it would be fine. I think we're gonna have to give this one a C tier, unfortunately. I'm just like... it's just painfully, like, not doing it for me. Alright. So up here... I think at the end of this, I'm gonna have to say, like... I think I'll do my best to recap, like, one nice thing that I like about all of these. Do I want to put this in C tier? Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it in C tier, but it's definitely, like, ahead of this one right here. We haven't had any D tiers yet, but if we get through this and there's no D tiers, I'm moving this guy to D tier. I think that's gonna be the whole thing here. Oh boy. Oh, this is very pink. Not that pink is a bad thing, but this is definitely super pink. Alright. So there's two Animal Crossing characters that are like... I know they're sisters, I just don't remember their names. But it's the blue rabbit and the pink rabbit. And I don't remember their names. But I do know that they were very popular, so this is definitely, like, 2020, around the time of, like, the big height of, like, New Horizons and everything. And I wanted to draw them doing karaoke for KK Bubblegum, or no, Bubblegum KK. That's the actual name of the song, because they're actually on the cover for that song. So, you know, wanted to draw that, but do I actually like how this looks? The colors aren't terrible. The designs are not great. I think they reminded me of very, like, 1950s kind of look, with, like, the polka dots and everything. So I don't mind the designs at the same time. I like that they're pretty inverse of each other. Like the white dress with the black collar, and then the black dress with the white collar, and then, using blue for the highlights and pink for the shadows. I think that was a cool thing, but the highlights are kind of in the wrong place, and just kind of just shouldn't exist on some surfaces. Like down here, probably not all that useful at the end of the day. If I was to redesign this, I would definitely do like something more like an idol kind of look, because I think that would just fit the vibe better. This is not great. Maybe I'll just give them like the bright ribbons instead. Let me see. You see, I used to do this shape for the eye, but as my art has developed, everything has just gotten like super like way more sharp. The anatomy is definitely not nearly as bad as it could have been. Or as it was in like previous things. Like the necks are a bit shorter, to an extent. I think the anatomy is definitely a bit more believable here. The hands are also alright. There's some mistakes, like this microphone, for example, missing a highlight is kind of funny to me. But I think a big thing here is that some of the highlights don't come off as highlights because the rest of the piece is just way too bright. Like, the lighting is just off, and that's why it doesn't look like highlights to me. But, you know, the concept overall is good. I just don't think, I don't think this is, like, great, is the problem. I'm willing to give it, like, I think this is definitely just one of the C tiers. Because while I like the colors, I think the overall way that I put all the colors together isn't good. Like, there's too much going on in a way where it's, like, very disorganized. It's like, and, like, if I was to redraw this, I think I definitely could have all of these colors work together in, like, a really cute and sparkly kind of way. The issue is that, like, everything right now is, like, super disorganized with, like, highlights being in spots where I don't think they should be, and, the shadows just kind of being, like, really inconsistent at the same time, too. I don't know if I thought that maybe this blue light coming up was, supposed to be, like, shining against them. But if it was, I don't think it should be reaching, like, you know, the top of the shoulder here. It doesn't make sense. There's just a lot of this piece that just doesn't make sense to me. And, yeah, just overall not good. The cell shading for the shadows, however, I am going to say the shadows are not bad here. It's the highlights that I think are giving me a big issue. And of course, if I was to do this again, it's going to have that very painterly rendering, and like, I would just skip things automatically. I would put, like, a filter over them, so that way when I do put the highlights on, the highlights make way more sense and they actually look like highlights, because here it just doesn't, and it's not that good. But at the end of the day, overall, I think this is definitely one of the stronger pieces still, because, you know, the anatomy is there, the composition was definitely trying to be there. It's really just the lighting that I have, like, a huge issue with. The character designs could definitely stand to be updated, but, you know, that's, like, character design. That's, like, that's not necessarily something I'm super trying to look at right now. So I think I could comfortably put this in, like, low B, high C at the end of the day. So let's see. I think something like that should be good. B tier doesn't look so lonely anymore. There's still only one S tier, which I think is funny, because that is exactly how I've felt so far about so many of these. It's really funny being critical of, like, old art. I should really be critical of, like, recent art. Oh, this one's exciting. Alright. I think we actually found our other S tier. So, there's a lot to take in. I talked before, like, oh, there were pieces where I was trying to, like, experiment with, like, the acrylic brush and see if I liked it more than the airbrush. Spoiler alert, I do like the acrylic brush more than the airbrush. But this was the piece that really, like, kicked it off. This was where I started. First of all, I'm gonna point this out. These water highlights actually look insanely good. Like, that's actually not bad. Would I do this for, like, open ocean these days? I would make these, like, a lot bigger. Because when they're smaller like this, it looks like it's a lot closer, but it's not supposed to be. So, I think I would definitely, like, fix the perspective a little bit on that, but the water highlights still look really good. I like this one as well. I like it a lot, too. The statue here, I hope I don't get jump scared for nudity here. I maybe should have chose the censored version, but that's okay. We'll just hide that for now. I like the statue. because it's nice because it's metal, but I still gave it like a little bit of texture, even though I don't do that necessarily, like use the acrylic brush for like metal or smoother surfaces. It looks really good here. Like, it actually looks not half bad. Like, that's pretty good. That's actually, like, pretty good. The wood absolutely could stand to have way more texture than this, but, for the overall look of the piece, and for where I was with my art at the time, it's definitely, like, believable wood grain and believable wood planks. This needs to be changed. I need to learn how to do, like, proper, like, name engravings, if that makes sense. Just something to, like, put the name onto a surface and not just, like, take text and, like, put it there. But that's a problem for another day. It's weird. There's, like, one of the weird things, though, about this entire thing is that there's, like, shading here, and then it looks like I just kind of... I didn't give up. It's just really hard to see. Okay, fair enough, past me. The seafoam could have been done a bit better. I think if I had just used, like, this spatter and really concentrated it, I wouldn't have to make, like, this sort of, like, splash effect. Again, we have that colored outline stuff that I was experimenting with. And you can see here, this was where I was really, like, using, like, the acrylic brush just a little bit more. It's really hard to see because it's on a really, really small surface. But it's not bad. It's definitely not bad, and it's definitely, like, way more noticeable than some of my other pieces, except for, like, maybe a few spots. Yeah, you can see, like, the highlight on the hair. Was I just not using highlights back then? Because that's kind of crazy that I haven't, like, seen it all that much. When did I start using highlights then? That's interesting. But yeah. I know what I was trying to do here, and I definitely messed up. I wanted to, like, have an outline here and then blur it so that it didn't look like it was in focus, but it just kind of made it look a little funky, but I don't think that, like, subtracts from the entire piece, like, at all, because it's still, like, if you zoomed out, it's still very much in the background. It's just, it could have been done better. I think the perspective is just a bit off, too. I'd have to look, like, at reference, to paint the ship masts and everything. They should definitely be bigger. That's the other thing. And again, I think the sun rays look really good here. I used to do this like all like very manually, but then I found a shortcut and I was like, you know what, let me just make this easier for myself. I think for how intense the sun is here, it definitely needs like harsher shadows like back here. Like everything that's not caught in the sun needs to be super, super dark, and everything that's like in the sun needs to be like pretty bright. But like, I don't hate this like at all. This is still, I think, a really, really solid piece for how old it is. When did I draw this? See, I wish I dated these, but I didn't. I think this was 2020 still, or maybe early 2021. I think it's one of the two. Because anything before 2020 is just a little bit too early for me to be using these, using the acrylic brush, but anything, like, past 2021, I think I am using the acrylic brush. But still, I think this is our second S tier. I think we finally have another S tier piece. So we'll go ahead and throw that there, because I like it. Put that up there. I think I like it more than this one. So, we'll do that. Look at that. And how many more of these do we have to go? We're at the halfway mark, actually. With a pretty strong one, too, again. Turn this off so we go back here. This is, this one's actually super nice on a lot of different, like, levels. Where do I begin? The pose is, I think, pretty cool. Obviously the anatomy is not, like, 100% there, but I think the pose is definitely, like, a really nice sort of dynamic one. I do remember she's, like, vaguely inspired by Cloud's Strife. I've never played Final Fantasy, but I like Cloud's design. I like the pink outlines here. This is like one of those times where I think the pink out or the colored outlines I think kind of help the overall piece rather than like distract me from it. The wood grain on her skin is actually like a really, really neat touch, I think. And the way the hair looks too is just really, really pretty. I like the antlers for the branches. I think that's always been like a thing that I want to do for dryads. And actually, if you look at it too, this is like, I think this is way thicker line art too. I think that's why I'm really liking this piece. Because it's like, it's so visible. I think definitely today I wouldn't do the colored outlines. I just haven't really liked colored outlines too much recently. They don't seem to look all that good with my art. It looks like I was doing more highlights. It looks like there's an attempt at more texture and more definition here. And the sword I think is pretty cool. I think I've always liked the idea of like a super like edgy kind of rogue type character, but they have like the least roguish weapon in the form of like a big fuck ass sword. I think that's funny. Oh, and I was trying the this too. Do I like that? You'll notice in like all of my art these days, in most of my art, I don't usually do this, and that's because it doesn't really look good to me on my art. But somehow here I made it work. For once I made it work. Oh, cherry blossoms are nice. They're a decent attempt at like what cherry blossoms look like, but I think I would definitely choose a watercolor over the acrylic for that one. Yeah, this is nice. I'm gonna be generous, and this one's gonna be another S tier, I think, just because the colors are super pretty. The pose is actually, like, really decent for the anatomy. The shading, again, is just really, really good, and I think the way that I did the colored outlines here, look way better here than they did the other pieces. Like at the end of the day, like this is definitely one of my stronger older arts. One of the other things I would change, I would absolutely change how I did the highlights here. A little bit way too much of like relying too much on the acrylic brush. This should have been watercolor and this should have been shaded very, very differently, but still overall I think really, really nice. Alright, let's see. I'll go up here. I'm willing to put this one in S tier. Like, just, you know what, I'd argue that this is the best one so far, actually. Like, to me, for what I did with my old art, it does everything right. It has texture. The colored line art actually looks really pretty with everything that I did. The anatomy is pretty on point, and the background, even though it's really simple, it's super effective, and I think that's a good thing. And overall, I think just super, super solid for back then. I think that's gonna have to be another like 2020 or 2021 piece. And I guess that makes sense too. Most of my better ones have been around that time period. Alrighty, it's 12:34. Let's move on to the next one. Oh boy. You know, I agree with this. I agree with this quote right here. All great adventures begin in a tavern, or in this case, a cat cafe. I think I did want to turn these OCs into a story, but I never did. I like all the cats here. They don't look great. I'm gonna give them that, but they look very silly. I think that's great. Is that going to be enough to sell the image though? Probably not. We're gonna have to see. So this is the witch again. I know her name is Hazel. Hazel's a fun character. I like her. I've always liked her uniform, just sort of like the cat-shaped apron and the tiny witch hat. The whole place is called Coven Cafe, as you can see back here. They're there's so many fun little details here. You could see the crew too. So there's Andromeda, there's Hazel. Do I still remember the names to all of them? This is the Cherry Blossom Dryad we just looked at. Her name is Agatha. And then I think this guy's name is Adrian, and this is Vex. Yes, I still remember my OC's names. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, cute details in this one. I really like the milk tea potions and the ice cream here. This is a decent attempt at, like, a tavern table, I think. I'm still not great at them, and this is probably the best. No, I shouldn't say that. It's not that this is the best that my furniture is ever gonna look, it's just I struggle a lot with furniture still. So I like this attempt. Character designs are alright. But again, I don't want to be looking too hard at that. The anatomy is definitely stronger here. Like, this is another showcase of, like, one of my stronger pieces. This took a while. I do remember this taking a little while. But it's cute. It's cute overall. I like the idea of, like, witches having, like, a little cat cafe where they sell potions. I think the concept is still something that I absolutely love. There's a watermark again. So this is definitely, like, a later piece. This one, I think, is definitely 2021. You could see, again, it's not super strong, actually, but there's a little bit of that textured rendering that I love so much. The lines are still pretty thin on this one, but you could see that I'm definitely experimenting with thickening them up in certain places. Overall, it's very cute. This doesn't pain me greatly, looking back on it. I think I would absolutely love to, like, redraw this, but I'm not sure if I would. It's really annoying having to draw, like, interior design. I'd have to see about that. I'd also like to visit an actual cat cafe one day. Where would I put this? That's a great question. First of all, the perspective, it's alright, but it could definitely be better. This just kind of looks a little awkward. Like, the biggest glaring issue for me, right, for this entire piece is the background. Because you zoom in here, and it looks fine. This cat could definitely stand to be, like, a little bit better, right? But, like, that's, like, most of the animals here, to be fair. I like this little squishy guy here. This should be the new channel mascot, honestly. Like, this, the focus of the piece, the subject, looks fine, right? But, like, the colored outlines on the background, the way the background looks, I don't think the cute details in the back are enough to really, like, sell me on how good this is. I could put this in A. I could very comfortably put this in A, but I don't think I like it enough, really, to really put it in, like, S tier. This is just, like, I think another very experimental piece that I did, because I still wasn't sure how I wanted things to look. And this just kind of, like, tells me, like, I'm still kind of, like, messing with things and trying to figure out how I want my backgrounds to look, how I want my characters to look. I think from this point, I must have had, like, a really solid idea of how I want to draw characters, but still not how to draw backgrounds. I think that's the big thing here. I don't know if I would put it in S tier. I think A would be fine, honestly. Because the background is very distracting from the thing, is the problem. And the background just isn't enough to, like, sell me on an S tier. So I'm gonna put this one in A, I think. Still really good. Just, not to where I need it to be, but this is definitely, like, high A tier. We're gonna, like, put it all the way at the front there. Alright. I have shown this one so many times. It's gonna be real, but it's really annoying to see this one, like, for the 17th time in a row, because this is one of the only ones that I remember, like, having access to.
Alright. This was for sure 2018, 2019, somewhere in that ballpark. I think this was actually 2019. Which means the redraw that I had of this last year would have had a 5-year gap. So 5 years truly does make the difference, everyone. What do I like about this? I like that there's definitely supposed to be, like, movement here. You can see the water being kind of disturbed as, like, things go around. And I think the way that the lines shape around it is really good. The colors, I think, are also very pretty. The biggest issue here, in my opinion, is that it's very hard to see, again, the color differences and everything. What was it last time that the guy mentioned? Values. The values are way too similar with the shadows. And I don't even know if I used highlights or not half the time with these old things. And of course, biggest glaring issues outside of color is the fact that there's so many inconsistencies and mistakes with the outlines to the point where it looks rushed. Which is crazy to me because I do remember drawing this one. I remember being up late at night doing this. And I know it took me a while. It took me like a few hours. So I'm surprised that in those few hours I didn't go back to correct these small things. Because they're not hard to fix at all. Like, look at the eye here. It's like, what is that outline doing? Why is there so much like crossover in all of these? What is that outline doing? And you could just see all of these, like, weird mistakes that make it look like it was done with, like, really, like, sketchy kind of way. But it's too smooth to have been done in, like, a sketchy kind of way. So it's, like, in my head, it's, like, was I using longer strokes for these? Or was I not? Because it's weird. It's a weird thing of both. The hands also look a little bit awkward. I'm not gonna lie. Too much of everything was, like, way too thin back then. Like, these arms are just way too skinny. Way too skinny. They definitely need a little bit more, like, size on them, I think. But the overall pose here is not terrible, actually. I don't hate it that much. And then, this is maybe the one that I think could have used a little bit more work. Mermaids, I think, should be, like, pretty big at the end of the day, especially ocean-dwelling mermaids, because, you know, if they have to compete with, like, oceanic predators, I think they should be pretty decently sized, but I think a big thing here is just the constraints of the overall image. I like the shape, though. The shape of everything here, just kind of making this sort of, like, swirled circle, is really good. But again, at the end of the day, I wish I could like this one more. But you know what? I'd say this is definitely a B tier. B tier piece. Which makes sense, to be fair. This is definitely one of the older ones that are going to be in the mix. They seem to... I'm starting to want to know more about your OC with teal hair. They seem to have a lot of adventures. Oh yeah, she was originally going to be part of a story I think I wanted to title Sea of Dreams. Yeah, so she started out as, like, sort of an AI hologram thing, but then she kind of evolved into a pirate. I'm not sure how the line of thinking got to there, because I know there was a long period of time where I wasn't drawing and I wasn't doing OC stuff, so she went from being a hologram to an actual pirate. And I think the plot of that story, she's having these visions of someone calling for help out in the middle of the ocean, and eventually that just kind of like pushes her to take the ship, the Sea Angel, that pushes her to take the Sea Angel out into the waters to like see like who's calling for help, and it's Calypso, the siren here. I have upgraded Andromeda to a water genasi though. I used to say like Sea Sprite, but that was kind of because I didn't really know a lot about D&D, and I didn't realize that there was already like sort of a water elemental race in there in the form of genasis. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just upgrade her to that then, and she looks so much better now than she did back then. I think she's
how do I put this? She's one of my more girlier characters, but I wanted to like do like girly pop adventure kind of thing, but also a pirate. So she's supposed to be just all like decked out in like really like cutesy pirate attire. That's a weird way to describe everything, but yeah. I think this is definitely a B tier piece compared to everything. Because there's no way I'm gonna like this any more than like her pirate version that we put up here in S tier. This is definitely going in B tier. Which again, accurate because older piece, it's only fair. I like how everything's just like an even square. How much more of these do we have? We're up to 13 now. Oh boy, this one's a silly one. But yeah, I love Andromeda. I love her design. I should draw her more. I should probably flesh out her story, but I have to do these things one at a time, otherwise I will get too distracted to do anything. Alright, what do we have here? So, this is definitely in 2020 because that's when New Horizons came out. Well, I can tell you the story behind this one too, which is really funny. In this one, so this is summer 2020, and I know this because Animal Crossing uses like real time to change its seasons and everything. Like it uses the Switch's internal clock, and summer is coming up. It's summer break. I just got done with another semester of college, and it was online college, and yada yada yada. Super depressing time, and I was really excited because I think in the prior spring before I drew this, I had found so many good clothes for like summer, and I was like, this is gonna like my character is gonna look so good in summer Animal Crossing, and it's gonna be great. And then I think for like 5 days straight on my island, because it's New Horizons, not New Leaf. For 5 days straight, it rained, and I was like, "Where's the sun in Animal Crossing? It does not exist." Interestingly enough, despite it being like 2020 and being a lot closer to the stuff where I was using like an actual like text watermark or like the acrylic shading, this one still uses my signature, and this one actually doesn't have any rendering at all. There's just a filter, and then the rain, and then that's it. So, right off the bat, how do I feel about this? It's a silly piece, right? It's very silly and definitely, like, looks like an Animal Crossing character, which I think is already it is already off to, like, a pretty funny and good start. The texture here on the glasses, because I know what kind of glasses I was trying to draw, it's definitely not bad. Definitely not bad. But those frames could stand to be a little bit bigger because, you know, if somebody's like scrolling through art, they're looking at it like this. It's really, really hard to see unless you're actually like focusing on it. The best part has to be the dress, because the dress has that really nice sunflower design. And did I copy paste this? I must have. But surprisingly, it turned out like very well for copying and pasting. I think the dress looks really, really good, actually. Yeah, I was probably taking it straight from the game, but, you know, it's still hard to draw like that. The slippers are alright. The outlines are a bit shaky towards the feet. I think this one really looks like when I was doing the outlines, I was doing it like that, which is probably why it doesn't look super, like, fine and consistent. It's not a bad piece at the end of the day. The outlines always stand to be a bit thicker. You guys know me. The trees aren't super convincing. I think this is definitely just kind of B tier at the end of the day. The dress is the best part, but it's not enough to sell the whole composition. But the overall mood of it is very funny, and I think the backstory is very, like, silly as well. Alright. But yeah, definitely not terrible, but definitely could have done better at this point. So, let's see. Let's plop that into B tier.
How much do I like it compared to... I think... Yeah, I think out of all of these, this is probably like low B tier, just because it's not nearly as visually interesting as the rest of them. This one's cute, but this one has like way more like personality in there. This one's just kind of like... This one is kind of like just like a... somewhere between a shit post and an actual art post, which is the problem. Alrighty, what do we have next? Ooh. We're getting to some familiar faces that we see more often these days. Did I turn this into a sticker? I think I did turn this into a sticker. Just not a particularly good sticker. So these were Aerie and Lilac's old designs, actually. You know what's interesting about seeing both of their old designs is that Aerie has changed the most, Lilac not so much. But yeah, oh boy. So the best thing about this is the border. I think we're all in agreement there. It's definitely mirrored, but I have no problem with that given like how it's supposed to look in the first place. I love all the colors. I love the different plants. And I love that it incorporates both like actual plants and mushrooms and something like darker, just because this is a tale of two druids at the end of the day. Those druids being quite the polar opposites of each other. Aerie is Circle of the Land, so all of her stuff has to do with like life and like nature and just everything like living and breathing and green and so colorful. Whereas Lilac is a spore druid and her circle deals way more with like death, decay, mushrooms, just all things just a little bit unsightly. But like that has always been like the pull of their romance. It's that they're very like opposite kind of characters. But they're still very drawn to each other. And that's always been their appeal. This has been like an idea in the works for like Jesus Christ, when did I draw this? 2020. Yeah. What's interesting too is that I think Aerie got shorter. She's 5'6", and Lilac is like 5'11", 5'10", somewhere in that ballpark. So Aerie definitely got shorter. Which is just funny to think about. And her hair also needed a desperate change. It does not look good with her skin. And her eyes. Her eyes just a little bit too. Lilac, I think, got a little bit more vibrancy with her thing. I actually have her right here, yeah. So this is like a very like faded out kind of purple. Over here, we have her just a little bit more like vibrant and clearer to see. The eyes also got like way sharper as time went on. How much do I like this? I think it's a very pretty piece, actually. I haven't necessarily redrawn this specifically, but I have drawn them together a bit more, and it's always kind of in like that sort of like contrast between their two subclasses. The anatomy is just a bit wonky. I don't know why the torsos are so long. I don't know why the arms are also like weirdly long. But the anatomy overall is not terrible, but I do think this is a point in my art where I think I should have absolutely had a stronger grasp on all of this than I did here. I also just don't really like this pose all that much. I think all it was that Aerie was taking up too much space and I couldn't really like comfortably fit Lilac's arms in there. She's also missing her tail. That was another thing. I forgot tieflings had tails at one point, so for a long time Aerie just didn't have one. She has one now though, as she should. But where would I put this? I want to put it in B tier because it's Aerie and Lilac and I love them. But I think really I could only put this like high C tier just because like this is at a point where I'm pretty sure I should have had like a stronger grasp of these things. It's really just the border that I like. Problem is that the border is not the focus of the piece. The focus should be these two. And like this on its own, like the border without like the center image, that would be enough for me to put it like B or even A tier. But because these two are in here and they're the focus, and the focus just is not a good focus, like the subject does not look good at all. I shouldn't say does not look good at all. It just doesn't look all that great. I don't know if I can justify putting it in like B tier. I think high C, low B is honestly kind of fair. 'Cause it's like, it's not bad. It's definitely not like bad, but it's definitely like, I really think this should have been like a point in my career where it should be looking better, because you guys are gonna see in a moment. That's something that I had drawn prior to this one. For some reason, looks way better than this one. So I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this in the very front of C tier. I think it looks the best of all of these, but I don't think it's gonna look as good as these. And you know what's the funny part about this? I'm using like my breakup that I had in 2021 to like sort of figure out where everything is supposed to go, because that was like one of the biggest things that I can remember. So part of me is like, okay, so did I draw this before the breakup, or did I draw it after? Which is kind of funny, but you know, it's what I remember. I can't help it. So I definitely drew this before I broke up, and this is like right after the, like right before the breakup, and this was like a solid month or two before. So as you can see, for some reason this looks better than this one. I don't know how the progress went back so backwards, but here we are. So this was fan art for a webcomic that I was reading by Vilixny. She's the same person who does Countdown to Countdown. This was her Tapastic original story called DPS Only. I was really infatuated by the story. I thought it was a super, super cool thing, and I thought it was like really cute that it was like focusing on esports and everything. And I loved Vicky's character, and I loved the character designs for the little fake mobile game that, not mobile game, a PvP game that was in there. And once again, you could see more of that texture. This looks like it was in a time period where I kind of only wanted to put the acrylic over the hair and not so much the skin, because it looks like I did use the airbrush here again. But what I do appreciate about this this time around is that the airbrush looks so much more visible, and I think that's because I was trying to use like a very specific sort of color towards everything. But this looks good. This looks really, really good. Like, there's like some hiccups like here and there. And this is exactly why I'm being so harsh on the previous art, because I did this at one point. I did this before that other thing. And progress is usually always supposed to go forward. And for some reason, this one had just gone backwards in all of it. I feel like, at least. So it's like, this one, I think, just is so much better. I like the background. I think the effects were really cool and really fun to do. I think, the expressions, not super great, but still, like, really, really, like, solid overall. And of course, the two characters over here, the characters inside the webcomics video game, like, the hair looks really good, the poses are super dynamic. This is a really, really good piece. I'm honestly willing to put this in S tier, because when I look at this, I still don't feel all that bad looking at it. And again, I think a really, really interesting thing about it too is that the colored outlines actually work so well here. They're really dark, so they still kind of look black, but in the parts of the drawing where it gets like really dark, for example, you start to see them more, which helps separate like those really dark colors and helps you see like more detail that's been drawn in, which is really good. It's again really, really decent for the time that I drew it back in 2021. So I'm comfortable putting this in S tier, I think, surprisingly. I didn't think we were gonna have another one in here, but yeah, I think this
absolutely should go up there. And we'll update the rankings at the end of it all too. Because it looks like this one's just kind of lagging behind. I might actually move this down to like a high A tier. Because if you look at all the other S tier ones, it's like there's a solid reason why they're up there. We haven't had any D tiers yet, but I'm going to preemptively move that guy down just because this is definitely like maybe not the best of the bunch. We'll keep updating as we'll update the whole thing as we finish. I think we got 4 more to go. Oh boy. No, go back. I had it right the first time. So, one thing about me, I really like drawing people dancing. I think dancing is, like, a really, really, like, beautiful thing. I like the way that, like, the body can move. I think it's very interesting. And I think it's really fun to capture that in a drawing. And I think it's really fun that, like, when you capture in a drawing, if you can still see, like, if you can almost see the movement. Just, like, very, like, simple. Like, it's like you're gonna see the next step, or you could see just like a body like about to hit the floor from a jump, something like that. This, however, this is like this could be better. I think I got the outfits off of like a post from Instagram. I wish I could like find the original. I just know it was one of those things where they draw sort of like a blank character and then they draw the really pretty outfit. And that's what I did. I saw the thing and I put characters in the really pretty outfits. I know this one was going to have a very, very different mood from when I first sketched it out. But I think what happened was, like, kind of halfway between drawing it, I kind of forgot what I was going to do. Because I know I was basing it off of a song that I heard, but then I think I forgot which song. And then I just kind of had to start making it up. The interesting thing about this is that I think I removed the color layer in exchange to just have the stuff that got rendered in. You can tell that it's the airbrush still. It's very like spotty, very like not super well controlled. The anatomy here is decent. I probably drew this in 2020 around pandemic times when it was just starting to hit, I think. The clothing wrinkles definitely look fine, but I think that's, like, primarily because I was referencing the art. It's not, I don't like this that much, I'm not gonna lie. And the reason for that is because I think, there's too little in the background happening, but at the same time, there isn't a lot happening in the foreground either. And that's because I took the color layer away. I think at the time it looked cool for me. And it was just a neat thing to have like these gold and silver characters, sun and moon. I've always liked that sort of like opposites thing. Not necessarily for the trope of like opposites attract, but because visually and narratively it's usually like a very interesting thing. But this is just not super great. It's, I think it's painfully bland in a way that I can't super describe. Like, again, it's not that necessarily that it's, like, bad anatomy, bad shadows, bad lighting, bad anything. It's just, it's a very, like, boring composition to something that I could do today. It feels stiff despite all the bending that's happening. It doesn't feel super balanced. And the lighting, again, I think could stand to be so much more interesting. It's just that I couldn't draw it then, and I don't think I like this piece enough to, like, really redraw it now. And, of course, I'm not even sure if I would want to redraw it now because, again, these outfits, I did take them from an Instagram post where it was like character base and then pretty outfit, right?
I didn't have the credits here. But yeah, it's just really like mid. Like, again, I think whatever initial concept I had, I think was more visually interesting than this. This is just kind of not it for me. I think I'm gonna put this in C tier. Where exactly in C tier though? Probably ahead of the green one at the very least. I think something like that is pretty alright. Let's see. We're on 17 of 20. Ooh! This one's actually kind of... This one might be fun. This one might be fun. Let's see. What do I have to say about this one? Not a lot. This was definitely one of my vent arts at the time. I think the original outline for white, but I opted for like this sort of rainbow shimmery metallic look, and that's why it looks the way it does. What do I like about this, first of all? The clothing wrinkles, I think, are definitely much stronger here than they've ever been in the old art. This cross-hatching spot, really, really good. Really, really, like, just really nice touch to the overall piece. There's even, like, a little bit in there, but the color just, unfortunately, didn't really, like, get to shine all the way through for that. But that cross-hatching under the dress, really good. The anatomy, well, I guess I just really like... It frustrates me how skinny my arms were before. It just, it looks so, like, weird. It's like stick figure arms on an anime character. It's so off-putting. Something I do like about this a lot is the hairlines. I think they're really, really nice. I do like this one in particular. I'm a big fan of how it just kind of like follows an actual like big lock of hair. It just kind of sucks that I didn't seem to do that for the rest of it. The face, it's like really basic. It's just like a really generic anime girl. But the overall composition, it could stand to be brighter. I'm gonna put it like that. It's a very, very dark background. I think there absolutely should have been a bigger push for most of these rainbow colors to be like more towards the top. But it does kind of create like an interesting kind of lighting effect. This is definitely something that maybe I could like, I wouldn't mind redrawing. But on the subject of whether I would want to or not, that is definitely a question. Because it's really simple. It's really simple, but it's really effective, right? Like, I don't hate it. It's definitely, like, one of my better looking older pieces, but, I think there's just a little bit of, like, disorganization with the colors here. I think if there was just a little bit more of that, maybe just, like, a smidge of lighting happening, it would be good. I think I'm comfortable putting this at B tier, really. Because this is, again, a point in time where I think I should have been making something way more visually interesting than this. Again, I love the concept, I love the composition, I love the colors, but I'm not in love with it, is the one thing. That's like the big seller here. So I think I could put this like high B tier, something like that. Put it up here, and then I would argue it's like up here, really. Maybe third, maybe. No. I think I have to put it up here, and then maybe move this one down to C, actually. We'll see how I feel about the final rankings when the time comes. Alrighty. Oh boy. I think my dad came home. I hope Butters went downstairs. If he comes up here, I'll just tell him I left the door open for Jimmy. So this one, it's a really good question as to when I did this. You can tell that I've had like water highlights down to a T for like a long time. When did I do this? I think I did this like 2021. I just don't know when exactly in 2021. It might have been after the breakup. It might have been, but I don't remember. And that's okay, because I do a lot of not remembering here. Let's see. The bubbles are really nice. I think they add like a really nice touch. It's just, I think they're a bit too big and a bit too distracting from the subject of the piece, which is Calypso here. Calypso had a bit of a redesign before, before like the big redraw that I did in 2024. I don't have the actual file, so I can't really see. I can't tell if I did the, I can't tell if I did, acrylic rendering on this or airbrush rendering. I feel like it must have been acrylic, because if I look up here, I can see just like those streaks a little bit on the hair, but on the rest of the body, I can't really tell. Ooh, actually, that's a really nice touch. Like, some of the scales have, like, flashes on them with, like, those, like, dots, like, there. Ah, I wish I leaned into that more. That would have been really nice. But yeah, the water highlights are really, really good. Surprisingly. And I think that's a really cool touch. The water filter, again, really helps sell the idea that she's underwater. The way that the hair flows is another really good touch. The colored highlights, again, they're alright here. They're definitely... They're not distracting, and I think they get the job done decently well. And this looks like, again, another piece where I was really pushing, like, dynamic line depth just a little bit more than usual. The face could definitely use some work. I'm not sure why that one is... Those gills look a little wonky, but they do. But it's alright. The gradient for the water is nice. The currents in the background, very simple but very effective. Extra bubble brushes in the back definitely is a decent touch. How do I feel about this overall, though? I know what I was going for. I was definitely going for, like, kind of, like, horny art, but, let's see. The scales here are definitely a little bit awkward, which is understandable. Fish scales are a little bit weird to draw, like, up at this point when they're all supposed to be facing down and not the other way. But I don't think about that too much. The anatomy is really good at the end of the day. I think... Yeah, this isn't terrible to look at. It's just, like, the biggest glaring issue to me, outside of the painfully skinny arms, again, is the shape of the head. Because the head just doesn't look that great. It really is just that. It's, like, awkwardly, like, condensed. It's really hard to see, like, where the skull, like, the actual, like, cranium of the head is supposed to be, right? Because it should really be like that, but then the volume of the hair and the way it's drawn just really doesn't look all that great. But overall, it's a decently fine piece. It looks like you really enjoyed doing a lot of underwater stuff before. And I like the redesign too, like changing this from like a weird sort of like bra kind of thing to just like having the scales cover it, kind of like a really like smooth pencil skirt dress. I think that was a good touch, and again, the water highlights are pretty strong. Surprised I did them that well back then. Where do I want to put this? I think high A is fine. Or low S tier, really. I think low S tier is mostly fair here. Something like that. Because, well, I think really
something like this, where I think this is definitely the best one that we've had. This is definitely a really good piece, but I think this one just beats it out just a little bit, just for like more interesting lighting and a better understanding of lighting at that. All right. Oh man, this one's a step backwards. Oh no. This one's gonna be interesting because it's kind of 3 in 1. Oh boy. Oh boy. There's a lot here. So, it was my mistake drawing the sirens all on one canvas. These are the sirens from Borderlands, but as, you know, mermaids, because I thought it'd be funny. I mean, it's kind of the problem with, like, a lot of my old art, right? The shadows aren't super visible, the lighting feels a little bit off. The anatomy here actually is alright, I'm gonna say it, but, it's the big issue for me is just lighting and everything. The school of fish back, like, for example, the school of fish back there is cool, but it's like, unlike the previous piece that was underwater, this one, where you can clearly see that there's a filter, she's got kind of a blue tinge to her. It's like, why not this one, right? I remember, too, what I specifically wanted for this was that I wanted, like, something very, like, coastal, then very tropical, then very arctic, right? Because, you know, colors, and something vaguely interesting. But it just, it's too small, all of these should have been their own, canvas. Like, all of these should have had, like, full and everything, and the mermaids absolutely should have been bigger. Like, yes, it's very clear that they're the focus here. And this was before I knew how to do water highlights, good lord. Like, the mermaids absolutely should have been, like, the focus here, and, like, yes, they are, but they could be even more of a focus, is what I mean. It's like, it could be so much better. And I have redrawn these, before. Oh my god, that's how I used to draw the phase lock orb. Ugh, it's so painful. I did actually redraw these. I'd have to go find it. And you can see here that I messed up with, like, the lighting too. There's, like, a weird gap and everything. Yeah, this is definitely going in C tier in my opinion. It's just... It's definitely more interesting than the one thing that we have in D tier at the moment. The issue, again, my main issue is just the compositions of all of these just should have been on their own canvases. They should never have been like one thing on one canvas. They should have just had like their own chance to shine, and I think having all 3 of them here like this really detracts from it all. I haven't too much to say about the outlines. Actually, the inking here is actually super consistent, which again makes me wonder why I wasn't consistent with like other ones before. This one I think is definitely a 2020 piece, but like early 2020. Well, no, this would have been for Mermaid, so this is probably like Mermaid 2020 for me. But you know, definitely an upgrade from the previous year's Mermaid, which was the Andromeda and Calypso one. That one would have been 2019. So this is definitely an improvement from there. The issue is just that I think overall, it's how do I put this? The 2019 piece I think is more visually interesting in that there's more like dynamic stuff happening, and the characters get to breathe on their own canvas, and overall it adds to the whole thing. It feels cluttered. It feels like all of these just should have just been on their own things, and I should have made 3 separate pieces for each of them, which I did do later on. And that's why I'm putting it like down in C tier rather than B tier, even though it's technically an improvement. I don't think the improvement really like helps it all that much.
Like, I still like this more than this. If that makes sense. I'll move that around, at the end of all of this. Now here's an interesting one. I don't know when I did this one. This might be... Oh, this is the last one, actually. Alright, so this is Kina. I've drawn her, like, once or twice in recent memory. Oh my god, the eyes are so wide. I think this is definitely one of the oldest pieces of art that I have in here. Oh boy. This... Did I even draw this on... I must have drawn it on Medibang because it's there on my computer. But still. I like the character design first of all, but we're not entirely looking at that today. The composition is cool with, like, her controlling the fire hand, and then me awkwardly hiding the hand behind her back because I didn't know where to put it. Kina really hasn't changed super a lot since I've first drawn her, which is interesting. Obviously the big issue here is the fish eyes. Like, oh god. What happened there? That is awful. That is all things, like, terrible. The wings also just don't look all that great. They don't even really look like wings when you really look at it. Again, I think a lot of that is just the main issue here is that it's constrained to the size of the canvas. So rather than have, like, these big open, like, phoenix wings that are just very, like, fiery and warm and vibrant, they just kind of look like feathers hanging from sticks. Which is not great. Her torso is also, like, hilarious. Like, whereas the other art had, like, the issue of making the torso super long, for some reason her legs are just super long instead. So I'm not sure how that happened. And then she just has, like, a super, like, awkward and big-sized hand. I think this is gonna have to go into D tier. It's not great. It's not great at all. Like, I think this is definitely, like, winter 2018 kind of thing, because I do remember this, like, campaign taking place in winter. I do like the fire reflection in her eyes. I think that's neat. But this is just not all that great. It's, like, the pose is stiff. Her hand being hidden is just kind of, like, meh. The legs being awkwardly long and the hand being, like, really awkwardly big just is not doing it for me. This is probably, like, one of the worst ones in the bunch, and I'm sorry, Kina. But I draw her better now, at least. So I think I can be very comfortable putting this in D tier. And we'll go back to and we'll say, like, one nice thing about everything. Yeah, she's going last. Okay, let me update the rankings real quick. I feel comfortable having this one up front just because I think it's, like, the best one compared with, like, everything that I've tried to do in the past. Which means I think this one I'll put, I'm gonna put this one up there just because I also think it's just a stronger overall piece than this one at the end of the day. And then this one's kind of last, but this also is just kind of like the first of, like, my whole art transition and everything. This used to be up there, and I think I'm comfortable just putting it, like, top of the A tier list just because it's really good, but I think putting it beside all of these ones, you could tell it's, like, the weakest one, and I'm pretty comfortable just keeping it in A tier. What else am I willing to move? I don't think that actually deserves to be front of C tier. I think it actually deserves to be, like, all the way down there, because I definitely say it's better than this one. It's just... It's not bad enough to be down there, I think. This, I think, can absolutely stand to be up there. I'm pretty comfortable with the C ranking. I think I like this one overall. I'm trying not to let like the hot pink like just kind of like mess with me a bit, but I think it is a bit harsh and a little hard to look at. Like I really like bright pinks and everything, but this is like a little bit like the color needs to be like controlled a little bit more. What else? What else? I think that's kind of it. I think this one's gonna go at the very... no. Objectively, this is better than this one, I think. Even though it's a little hard to see. Alright, let's zoom in and we'll say one nice thing about all of these before we draw for the last hour of stream. Alright. Right off the bat, overall composition is super solid, the pose is good, the lighting is great. I think this is just one of the best steps forward that I had in my art. I'm glad I continued going in this direction. The same thing can be said here. Just solid across all of these. Just these were the best foots forward that I've ever put. Right. Like this one, these are really nice sunbeams. It's really nice water highlights against a character that I think I did really well on the anatomy with. The hands could absolutely stand to like not disappear behind the hair, but that's besides the point. This one, really fun like experimenting with colors and very dynamic poses. Again, it's just something that's very visually interesting. This one is it's sad that it's the worst of the bunch, because for a long time this is what I considered to be like my best artwork in like ever. And the best thing about it though is that this is when I finally started stepping out of that comfort zone of like unbelievably smooth gradients and everything. This is when I'm starting to like push everything. And it continued in like some pieces here and there, but we're not talking about those yet. This one, I love the colors. Definitely need to redraw that one. I think of all the things that I have up here, this is the most deserving of a redraw. This one's good. I think I would also redraw it. I really love all the little details I included in there, and I think if I ever did it again, I should absolutely continue to use those little details. I've already redrawn this one to an extent, but I love the dynamic pose. I just think overall it should be a brighter image because everything kind of blends in together. This one, again, really good choice for colors. It's just glaring anatomy issues, but I do love the colors. This one, I like how cute it is, and it's kind of as far as it's going to go. It's just a little bit too pastel for me overall, but I think at the end of the day, still very cute. This one, love the composition, love the metallic look of the colors. The only thing is really going to be really controlling those colors and making it like look a lot stronger visually than it does right now. This one I've redrawn it already, but I do love the shape. I do love like the dynamics of it. I think it does still have like that very like flowy underwater kind of feel, despite it being so old. This one, I think the concept is very, very good. I love the hot pinks. Again, it's just one of those things where the color needs a little bit more control in order for it not to feel a little bit too much like eye vomit to me. This one, again, the frame is probably the best thing about it. Really, all this needs is maybe just, rather than having the characters like half body up like this, I think it would be better if it was just like their faces, kind of like if it was a locket or something. This one just needs, the lighting is pretty here. It just needs like better control, or better, not control, communication of what is supposed to be happening here. If you can't tell that this is water, then that is a fail. It's hard to tell where the sun is because I've put everything in the wrong space, but still, I think the lighting is very pretty. Sunsets are very, very beautiful. Here, I like the sort of experimental taking away of the flats and just kind of like using the airbrush to paint in everything.
and leaving a lot of negative space. Again, it's just a little bit too dull. I can't see it all that well, and I think if I was to try this again, I would do things a bit differently. This one, the color green, it's a very cool mood. I really like it. It's very magical and very like somber at the same time, which I think is perfect. It's just the only thing that needed to be fixed is like make this character way bigger so you can focus on her more. This one, it's a fun idea, just all three of them needed their own piece, and of course, just a lot of like lighting issues and just way too soft on color gradients and everything. This one, just only kind of funny. You can't really even see the rain all that well, but I really love the dress again, and I think the Animal Crossing style was like really captured with this one. This one, I love the joke with like the creeper all man on a Discord call. I just need to like change the kind of computer that he's using, of course, fix lighting stuff. And this one, again, I love Kina's character design. I always have that sort of like 1920s flapper vibe. But this had a lot of things to like work on, and I have redrawn her so much better in recent times. So there we go. That is the ranking. I'm gonna download that. Do I click this? There we go. And I'll post that with the I'll post that on Twitter when the time comes. Alrighty, so that was a fun little trip down memory lane. I don't know if I would ever do this again. I think maybe give it like another 5 years and I would be willing to do it again. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. So this is the art that I'm working on. I'm not sure what's on this layer. Oh, it's her eyeshadow. Where am I? I need to drink some water. So like, I still haven't heard the doorbell. I hope they haven't come by and I just didn't hear them. Because Butters hasn't barked either, so I think we're good there. Anyways, back to the really good art. Drawing Lilac, Eri got her sort of like really fancy, not pinup, I think pinup is actually the wrong word, but Eri got her like really fancy dress to wear. It's only fair that I give Lilac one too. I need to stop playing favorites, basically. So I'm gonna work on the background first here, I think, because, hang on, come on, select everything and then put it inside. There we go. I'm gonna work on the background first. To me, despite Lilac being a very purple character, Lilac has always, I think her favorite color is blue. I think I've said that before. And I want it to really contrast with, Eri's thing, and Eri's thing is very, like, warm and yellow, and gold and brown. So I think we're definitely gonna go with, like, a blue color here. I do want it to look a bit cave-like, but that's kind of like matching her thing. Hang on. Yeah, that should be fine. I wanted to draw a corpse flower, because I didn't want to just do mushrooms, because she's already gonna have, like, a bunch of, like, mycelium roots coming down from there. But, it's still, like, a really, like, nice thing. I'm gonna have this be more of, like, a cave. I know Raffleseas don't grow in caves, but I can't have this be green either, is the one thing. So, we're getting this instead. Actually, I don't think I want the ground to be darker than the thing. I want the thing to be lighter than the thing, but, like, more grayscaled, and definitely not the same value as her little thing here. I'm not sure what it's called. I'd say underwear, but I promise it's not underwear. Calling it a day. Thank you for the stream and have fun with your girly. Oh, thank you, and thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the tier list. I'll post it like after after stream's over and everything. We've got about an hour left or so. But yeah, I hope you have a great day, Kira. Or I hope you have a great night, actually. Thank you for coming along. So we're gonna make this look more like stone, and I was actually supposed to be doing a TikTok for this. Oh well. I think I can finish this by today. I don't think it'll be too difficult. The way I like to do stone is I like to take the pen tool and just kind of like put like cracks along there. The nice thing about it is that you don't have to be super smooth with it. I like how there's differences in the rainy tracks and the snowy tracks on Animal Crossing. It's very... This is a bit too smooth. Let me just make it a little bit more jagged. It's a bit hard because it's like going behind something, but, you know, eventually you find something that works out. And we'll put like a nice little like texture over it too. Real quick, let me see if I can also record for the thing here. Let me see. Let's zoom in here, we'll do it over here. Oops. I think I want it to come up from here actually, and then just something like that. I don't even remember where I left off with with the thing. I was doing it last night. It's so hard to record TikToks, I swear. Every time I do it, it's like, I should just get a tripod at this point. But I don't get a tripod, and it's insane. Let me just turn this down a little bit. I'm gonna put this here. The tough part about it really is just, like, I can't see, like, what I'm doing properly, and that's what, like, annoys me the most. Let's see. Let's see. I think that's good. I'll try not to record too much for the remaining hour of stream, but I do want to get that out. I need to get back into making those. It's just hard for me. I'm not huge on like recording. I say recording myself. I don't mean it like that. It's hard to do it with your phone in your hand and draw at the same time. That's what I mean. I don't mind recording myself. It's just I don't have an easier way to do it. It'd be smart to actually, like, use the stream clips for that, probably, but I'm not smart. I think we'll just, like, blur this out now, too. Not that much, though. Something like that, and then I just want to take another layer here, and go a little bit like this. Something like that, I think. Something a little bit lighter, actually. So, this is such a... Where is it? This is such a good brush for, like, very, like, generic, like, texture shape. Just, like, to make it look a little dusty and messy. It's really good. It's really strong. I like it. Sells the idea really well, and you could just, like, go a little bit darker on any spots that you feel need to go a little bit darker. Yeah. And then I think here we're gonna take this, we're gonna put like a little bit of a gradient on top of the thing. I don't want it to go too dark though, because we're gonna have mycelium coming down from the ceiling. So something just kind of like that. And we're gonna blur the top of
the stone floor as well. We're gonna just do a quick pass over. Probably would have been better if I just used Gaussian blur. Hang on. Yeah, 5 should be good. Have a small gradient there, and then I think actually, along with that, I'm gonna take the I'm gonna take this color again, go a little bit darker, and rather than just have it come from the ceiling, I'm gonna have it come from the center as well. Just gonna need a little bit of a bigger brush for that. Just kind of go around like that. Really make it dark more towards the center. And then let's go a little bit darker. Something like that. Again, this is just a really nice brush for like very like generic, like you're not meant to super focus on it kind of thing. Actually, yeah, it's better with it like that. And then I think from there it's mostly fine. I think I might just put a whole color filter over the whole thing too. Just to really sell like how dark it is. Actually, no. What we'll do is that we'll do it like this. Actually, I don't want it to all be blue too. It'd be really cool if we went purple. And we just kind of do like that. Something a little bit more mysterious looking. The colors are so fun to use and play around with. Like, yeah, I think it's really cool that the same colors can be used to convey multiple different moods and everything. The biggest thing that you need, really the biggest thing that determines like what mood it is just like intensity and values and saturation. That's the big thing that changes it. Overlay screen, no. I need it to be dark, but not that dark, because I need it to still come off as purple. Yeah, I think hard light or overlay is probably the best one. Whichever one looks more purple. They're really the same. Alright, I can live with that. I think that looks decently fine, and then we're gonna put another layer folder up here so we can draw the mycelium roots coming down. Should really get like a clip or something so I stop having to hold my hair back. Let me just... Yeah, that should look fine. I think my dad's home too, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my the other set of my headset back on. So mycelium looks interesting. It's very fibery is the thing, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do this just yet. The best thing I've learned when painting things that like you don't normally paint is to find a brush that looks really similar to what you're trying to do and just roll with it. So normally I use this brush for wood grain, but this time around what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to draw like these very I need this to be a little bit more concentrated, but I don't want to change my brush settings. It's okay. It's okay, I think. I'm gonna draw these very, like, concentrated, sort of like squiggles. I'm not gonna make them as squiggly as I did in the sketch, because that's just not what the mycelium is gonna look like. But I'm gonna draw this, like, very concentrated roots, right? It's very fibrous, so, but except for, like, these sort of, like, bigger stalks in the middle, it looks like. 'Cause I have an image pulled up here now. It's kind of like this, and just kind of come down. And we're gonna make these ones look really solid. Something like really strong, so I'm making sure I pass over a lot so we get a little less opacity with it, right? But we're still keeping like the very fibrous look. And like we have some kind of like some other like things branching off of it. Just push it around a little bit more harshly like that. And then we'll get another one here. Something like that. It doesn't look nearly as solid as I think I'd like it to, but I think this is a pretty decent start, having never done this before, really. And the big thing about them is that they really like to interconnect a little bit, so I'll definitely be like connecting some of these strands, like maybe like this, because they're not really like web-like, because webs are very organized is the thing. The mycelium networks kind of look like nature's way of like having like your desktop wires all like disorganized and messed up. I'm sure there is an organization to it because they do kind of look like synapses, which is a little freaky. But it's not like a spider web where you can like very, very like clearly and distinctly see the pattern. And draw another one like this. There. Something very ghostly, I think. So I just need something that screams like death, decay, and everything. All things awful. I wanted to include more bones, but it was a little hard to include more bones. I think I could have absolutely filled this space, but the mycelium is going to be coming like down here pretty strongly, and I think having the one rabbit skull should be good enough. But yeah. Something nice and just very like strange looking. Kind of like hair. Kind of like hair, but just a little bit more freaky looking. I love mushrooms. Actually got this really cool magnet the other day. We were over at this shopping center. Oh, hi! Greetings from Germany. I have a lot of German viewers. There's like 2 other people in my audience who are from Germany usually. One of them just went to bed. I'm doing good. I'm drawing. But yeah, this is a little mushroom fridge magnet I bought. I'm not putting it on a fridge though, I'm putting it on like the side of my desk because my desk has like these metal spots and I think it'd be cool if I had like a bunch of fungi growing out of there. Yeah, we're just drawing now. We already finished ranking my old art and roasting the shit out of it. Not roasting the shit out of it, there were some that were actually like pretty decent and I was like kind of surprised, like, oh, I did know how to draw back then. Yeah, we're just getting, I just want, right now, we're just painting a bunch of mycelium roots, just trying to make them look really like ghostly and everything, kind of sick and fibery. And I want them to like come down like really long actually. So we're gonna extend some of these. They seem like quite a fun guy. Haha. Ah, you're funny, yeah. Lilac's a very silly, fun guy. She's named Lilac because I saw somewhere that lilacs cover the stench of death, and as it turns out, dark purple lilacs actually do represent something to the effect of, like, grief. So that worked out. Yeah, I've never painted mycelium before, so it's really interesting.
the reference image that I have right now has like these very like thick sort of I'm not gonna say center stalks, but it's kind of like center fibers, and they have like these smaller, hairier ones that kind of come off of it. And some of these, again, really look like synapses, which is really freaky. And I'm trying not to think about that too hard, because that is a little... Oops. I got rid of a stroke that I don't think I actually wanted to get rid of there. It's very, like, interconnected. It's, like, really cool. I love mushrooms. I gotta say, the character you're drawing reminds me of Baldur's Gate character. You're not wrong, to be fair. All of these are kind of D&D characters. 4 viewers! Oh my god, welcome! Welcome. I'm surprised. I feel like people always come in on, like, more of the drawing segments rather than, like, the funny stuff that I tried to do for stream. But I don't want to just draw for stream. I want to do funny things, too. No, I spent, like, most of stream today, I spent most of stream today looking at old art and putting it in, like, a tier list. Yeah. You're not wrong to say that she's a Baldur's Gate character, because a lot of my characters are technically D&D characters, I just don't get to use them. Because I've kind of become a little bit of a forever DM, but I'm not going to think about that. Just something like that, I think. And then maybe have like another strand coming down from here. I usually use this brush to get wood grains, so this is kind of like an interesting sort of experiment for me because I've never done this before. I'm also kind of recording the TikTok that I'm gonna make out of this every so often, so how much do I like this? There's just got to be like a lot of like interwoven like fibers here. That's the big thing here. I understand the pain of being a forever DM. So, oh my god, just remember the picture of a body with only the nerves. Yeah, that's exactly what it kind of looks like. Yeah, being a forever DM is, I don't mind it particularly, it's just I do miss playing, because it's like, I miss being able to roleplay, you know, like my characters that I actually want to have character arcs for. But it's okay. That's what the comic that I'm supposed to be working on is for, but I also just haven't been working on the comic, so we don't think about that as well. There's a lot of things we don't think about here. Welcome to the Brain Empty stream. But yeah. Lots of interconnectedness, lots of interwoven, like, weird fibery strands. I think I'm gonna try and make some of these kind of star-shaped to really get that synapse-like look. I think that should be, like, pretty good. Why don't you include the arcs in the main NPCs? Oh, because, when I say I'm a forever DM, it's because I don't D&D with a regular party. I actually do D&D one-shots for a game store that I work on. Monday, actually, we did a vampire-themed one, hence the, drip that I posted on Twitter. Cough, I post my art on Twitter still, like a nerd, but don't worry, I also post to Blue Sky, it's just that I can't really afford to get off of Twitter at the moment. But, the fun thing about, yeah, I salute your service, thank you, yeah. I love, doing the one-shots for the store, they're very fun. Yesterday we did a vampire one, and that one was funny because, I got to do the world's worst British accent, and I got to, basically the whole story arc was there was a vampire being framed for being responsible for the disappearances in the city, even though he's not responsible, and he just hires a team. Like, can you just find evidence that clears my name? It's really fun. I like the one-shots in particular because I get to do a lot of fun world-building things for my custom world. Since you're new here, the custom world is basically just modern day and fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi elements, blended in there. And the fun thing about that is a lot of it is just based
a lot of the adventuring is based off of esports, where basically the guilds are like esports orgs, and you get RP whenever you do quests that the citizens put up on the bounty board, and you rank up. And it's like a whole thing where it's like it kind of like blends the idea of like streaming and being a social media influencer, and again esports, all into the concept of adventuring, because I think it's really funny. And I think it's also like an interesting take. One day I would love to do like a world building tutorial stream, but I actually am not. I think I'm a good world builder, but only for like the world that I've built, if that makes sense. I think this convincingly does not look like spider webs, right? It's like way too much of like a network rather than like a web. I think half the things I say on stream probably never make sense. With it being one-shots, it sounds really fun having many parties to compete in it. Yeah, it's it is a fun idea. We're trying to do more D&D stuff at the store, so we're trying to get more people on board with that. Because I think a fun thing would be as if we had like sort of an adventures league. And we just had like different like parties going through the store. But right now it's just me and one other DM, and I don't think we have the mental fortitude to handle that, or the time of day, really. How do we feel about that for mushroom fibers? So here comes the fun part. I'm gonna do this on another layer. We're gonna thicken it up now, and we're gonna make it really hairy. Might need to thicken it up a little bit more. We just need to make it like really hairy around, I think. And I'll put like some extra like flourishes in there to make it like there's spores. But yeah. This is my usual content. I sit here and I draw. Sometimes I play games. On Thursday we're probably gonna play Stardew Valley with Johnny again. That's my brother. One of my brothers. The hairiness adds quite a lot to it. Oh! Follower goal met, 70 of 70. Thank you so much for the Leonarden. Yeah, I do like the hairiness of it. It is supposed to look very fibrous. Oh my god, 70 of 70 followers. We've broken 69, everyone. That's actually kind of crazy. Oh my god. I don't know what to do with the whole Twitch goals and everything. It's kind of hard to figure it out. I'm still like super new to this. I don't know if I'll ever get any like better or grow any more on this, but it's like, you know what? I'm happy to just draw here and make. Oh wait, I will unfollow again. In that case, I salute your service, sir. Do what you want to do. Actually, let me look at this one. This one's like a lot hairier. No, it is just supposed to look like really fuzzy, I think. Maybe this one. I want you to know that these images are invoking only like the worst like feelings in me. I feel like I'm staring at like moldy food, which isn't entirely wrong. It's just very like fuzzy and uncomfortable to look at. I think what I need to do is after I add all like the hairy textures in, I need to go back to the center stocks and add like more solidity to it. Because this should look like mold. I think it just kind of doesn't look like mold right now because it's not against a surface, if that makes sense. There's probably like other reasons. One of those reasons being a skill issue. But we're again, we don't worry about these things. We just do as we do. Yeah, that's like, well, it is a mushroom too. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not wrong there in saying like, oh, it looks like mold. It is mold. It like to an extent, yeah, that is mold. That is what mold is. But it's definitely How should I put it? It's like looking at moldy food, and it's like I'm looking at it, and it's like, ugh, I must throw it out. That's how I feel. That's yeah. I think I should definitely go back to these center sort of fibers here and make them more solid as a way to like differentiate them just a little bit better. I'll probably take like the regular like brush pen for that. Or maybe I can just how do I like that with like the opacity lowered? Honestly, not that much. It's better if it's stronger. One of the weird unspoken rules I don't think I've ever like discussed in my art before is I have a whole thing where it's like if I need to lower the opacity like all the way down here, for example, then I just shouldn't really have it in the first place because I can't see it. And that's kind of just a rule that I take with me for like color filters and everything. I've made a few exceptions before just because it like the subtlety of it just adds to the overall piece. I think that oh, I can't speak. I think with the thick fuzziness it looks more shroomy. I think so too. Yeah. Again, the only thing really is that there needs to be more distinction between this layer right here and this layer. That's really the only thing that I'm noticing so far. I want to add like tiny dots too, just tiny like flecks of spores. I think that'll definitely help sell the effect a little bit more, even though like a lot of these don't seem to have like those tiny like spots I was talking about. I think it'll still be good. Just make it look super hairy. Super you know you've accomplished something with your art if like you paint something so well that it makes people uncomfortable to look at it. I want to achieve that same effect here, but I have no idea if I'm going to. But we're almost done adding the really hairy bits. We could add a middle layer with lower density lines. Maybe. I think I definitely don't want to put it on the same layer. I think I'm definitely going to have it on its own separate layer in the middle. Do you draw too, any chance? Should get to know more artists. There's been like a lot of the new like people who come into stream lately. A lot of them have been like, I'm not going to say bots, but they are like they are like letting me know like, oh, we're graphic artists and we could do like stream overlays for you. It's like, I am an artist. I would rather do that on my own, and if I want to commission someone for that, I will find someone to commission for that. And I'm pretty sure they're scams anyway, so I don't think any feelings were really hurt. Change this so I can see what things I'm trying to like make more defined here real quick. I think I should have a good like brush pen to add more solidity to these two when I'm done touching up these sort of end points. Should look pretty good. Add a little bit more here and there. Just keep it thin too, that's the other thing I gotta keep in mind. Alrighty. Oh no, I got Noscope. I love to watch a lot of different artists. Oh, that's fun. That's always cool that people like to watch artists. I think it's really interesting watching them too, just because there's so many different techniques that like different ways they go about it. I have a whole thing on my art accounts where I'm like, I think it's so important that artists like talk about their process and share it sometimes, you know, if they're comfortable with it, because it's a really cool thing to learn from, and it's really cool to see like the different perspectives with all kinds of like artists. That's like one of my big important like things to me. Okay, so we're gonna take. Okay, so now how do I want to do this? The Sumi pen is usually really nice for this kind of thing. I think just like, I don't think going all the way through is the way to go here. I think just adding like spots of solidity should be more than enough. Because we don't want to lose the texture, that's the thing, right? That's the tough thing about all of these. Just going through these, and because all this is just a touch up. We don't want it to completely overpower like the thing we're trying to do. That also reminds me, I have the art tutorial folder that I'm supposed to put a disclaimer on. Somebody told me that I should probably let everyone know that I'm using Medibang Paint for all of this, because it's frustrating that across different art platforms, different tools are called different things, and different blending modes are also called different things, but it's like, well, that's just the way it goes. Like, for example, the smudge tool on Medibang, I'm pretty sure most other software calls that, like, liquify. Because smudge is, I think, something else entirely most of the time. But you know what? Again, this is just one of those things where it's like, how much thought do we really need to give towards this? The brain power right now has to be focused on these mushrooms right here. I want to go collect mushrooms so bad for in like a foraging way. From what I noticed, many artists have an art design, see only mistakes their own art and only good things with others. Yeah, that's a big thing. Artists are always going to be their biggest critic. Me, I do like to zoom in on like a bunch of things. Though I like to take in all kinds of details during the art shares. And I always try to like point them out because I know what it's like to work really hard on a piece, and it's like, wow. Like, I really wish someone noticed, like, this really cool, specific thing that I did. So I always try to do that, at least. I wish the art shares could actually, like, provide people with, like, proper, like, engagement boosts and everything. But at the very least, I do try to leave, like, very insightful comments to, like, make someone, like, smile. I'm just not that big of an artist at the end of the day, and that's okay. We're getting there. We'll get there eventually. Yeah, that's definitely looking, I think, the way that I need it to. So now we're just gonna make another layer. We're at 25 layers. It's so fun, yeah. I love the art shares. I like to do themed ones where I always ask like a prompt question, like, can you guys show me art where you did this, or art with this, and art with other things, and can you tell me about it? I think that's honestly super, super fun. Okay, we're gonna take this spatter brush and we're just gonna very, okay, hang on. Maybe not too overbearing, actually, because these actually don't seem to exist in real life, these flecks of things, because the spores are on top, technically. They're on, like, the cap of the mushroom, or, like, under the cap. Not in their roots, necessarily. But, a cool effect nonetheless. I'll just move that down just a little bit. Again, if I have to bring the opacity all the way down here, I might as well not include it at all, so. Something like that. I think that looks pretty good. We'll worry about rendering that later. Every road leads to Rom eventually. Wonder what Rom is. It's a fantasy world, so why not bottom sporing shroomies? Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. I always like to blend a little bit of realism and fantasy just to make things just a smidge more believable, but that's just me. There are some things where I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck science, I'm gonna do this anyways. Hence her exposed rib cage here. That technically shouldn't be, like, biologically sound or safe. But I'm gonna do it anyways, because it looks cool. ROM. Do you mean like a ROM hack? Like, that's the only thing that ROM is, like, sparking in my head. I'm so sorry, I'm stupid, I know. No, I'm not gonna up that a little bit more. Anyways, rendering time. The city in Italy. Ah, that explains why I don't know it. Every road leads to Italy eventually. We'll call it like that, so I understand it a little bit better. Yeah. I've been to Italy before, actually. Specifically Rome. Oh wait, is Rome supposed to be Rome? Am I stupid? Hey. Bots, calm yourself there. Possible ban Vader monitoring. No. They're getting banned right off the bat. You're not stupid, everyone has their own focuses. Yeah. Maybe it is Rome. Maybe it is Rome that you're talking about. Good riddance. Yeah, I agree. I have been to Rome. I went there with my mom. It was a trip to Barcelona, and then there was a cruise ship that went around... Wait, it is Rome XD. Oh, okay, because you wanted to see how I'm used to, like, seeing it spelled. I'm used to seeing it spelled like this, dear Twitch chatter. You know, the Americanized way. The wrong way. The phonetically wrong way, we'll put it that way. Sorry, my bad. That's just what the difference in, like, countries and everything does to you. The only American way. I'm pretty sure there's like so many things that only like America uses and like the rest of the world doesn't use, which is fine, you know, because, you know, I'm pretty sure there are things that like other countries use that also the rest of the world doesn't use at the end of the day, right? And it's not like I'm not gonna say that the American spelling of Rome is wrong. It just adheres to, you know, English or American English grammar something standards, even though some words don't. But again, I hate English. I just hate English so much. It's okay though. Sometimes it's a silly thing. It was fun to realize, like, oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. No wonder I didn't recognize it. It's the American spelling and that's it. Yeah, it's just a difference in spelling that threw me off. It happens, though. But yeah, no, we were at Rome 2 years ago, or it's coming up on 2 years ago now. And very, very beautiful place. I'm pretty sure we almost got robbed because there was this guy dressed as a pirate and he was like, oh, you should take a picture with me, and I wandered just a little bit too far from the crowd. And my mom was like trying to like get me like, Kyra, come back here. And I'm like, oh boy, a pirate. But no, the way that I was like carrying my stuff, it would have been impossible to like pickpocket me. Also, I just wasn't carrying, like, that much valuables on me. It was also really, really hot there. Like, a hot day is, like, one thing. A hot day in a city with, like, no trees is another thing. Not to say that there wasn't any trees in Rome, but kind of the only shade that was really available was, like, the buildings. And at some point, especially if you're on your way to the Colosseum, there's like maybe one stretch of thing that has trees on it, and then the rest of it wasn't. And of course, around the Colosseum, there's not a lot of plants. It's just the Colosseum. It was so hot that day. I
I'm surprised I didn't die. And then we finally found someone who I think was like selling like like bottles of water on the street. You can describe Italy weather as a more dry Florida. Yeah, it definitely felt like that. I've never been to Florida before, but that it was like California desert heat, but just a little bit more humid, and that's what was really like oh my god, this is like ouchies. But it was very pretty there. We didn't go inside the Colosseum because I think it was like an extra charge or something, and I was desperate to find shade and some ice water. But it was really cool there. I remember taking a lot of pictures because I wanted to learn how to draw buildings and like a different kind of city, because American cities are not that great aesthetically. They used to be, and then they weren't at some point, and it's kind of sad. But again, oh well, what can you do? Oops. I've never been to Florida. I've been to Philippines though. If you want humidity, if you really, really are in love with humidity, you should absolutely go to like places like Southeast Asia. What the How far does that go? How in God? What layer is that on? Maybe that's the... It is, okay. Didn't they have 100% humidity not too long ago? Probably it's Philippines. Yeah, if I haven't mentioned it yet, I am Filipino. I'm losing it over these bits of purple that I put on the wrong layer. I am Filipino. My parents came from Cebu, Philippines, and I speak not a lick of Bisaya or Tagalog. I can only tell other Filipinos that my Filipino is garbage and horrible, and I'm not gonna make any sense. But apparently I can, like, pronounce the words, like, really, really well, which is nice. My dad was having, like, a whole thing. Me neither, so we got something in common. Real. I do have a, like, channel point redeem where it's like, you can get me to teach you whatever Bisaya I actually know. So I can hold myself accountable for learning new phrases to teach you guys. The one issue with that is that I still haven't learned a lot of new phrases. There's like some that I know, but a lot of it is still going to be like whatever my mom has taught me so far. But I like learning the language. I like how it sounds. My favorite thing about Philippines, though, I didn't actually get to experience a lot of the humidity when we went back in 2018, because most of the time when we were traveling, we were in an air-conditioned car, and I was like, thank God for that. I can use 4 times in a row. I'm gonna keep it as Spanish. No, please. I should have had it where it's only like once per stream, I think. And if I didn't, I'm gonna have to go fix that. Actually, her eyes are a little bit more sunken in, so I'm gonna do something that I don't usually do, and I'm gonna do this. I don't normally do this with my art, but I think this might give like a really, really nice effect. Look at me, learning how the human face finally works after 20 years of drawing. Has it been 20 years of drawing? I don't think it's been 20 years of drawing yet. Where do I truly pinpoint the start of my career? Probably freshman year of high school, so that's 2014. Oh boy, another redemption. Oh boy. So, okay, last time I taught everyone... I taught everyone who was in chat how to say that you weren't good at speaking Bisaya or any language. You say, "Di maayo kong Bisaya," or "Di maayo kong Ingles" if you want to get people to stop talking to you. Let's see. What's another one? What's another phrase that I have? Why am I suddenly blanking? Here's a couple of handful of phrases that you could say to ask if you're working tomorrow or when you're working. So one time my mom asked me like, "Kay, trabaho ka ugma?" And I had to stand there for a second, like, what on God's earth did she ask me? Because we're trying to speak more Bisaya to each other, and I finally pieced it together. It's like, trabaho ka ugma is asking, it's kind of like asking, are you working tomorrow? And I was like, oh, trabaho ko alas, what's my usual shift? We'll go with my usual shift at Carl's Jr. So my usual shift is 11 to 4. So if I was to respond to that, I would say, trabaho ko ugma kotob alas 11 kotob alas 11 no, alas 11 kotob alas 4. That's what it is. Trabajo ko ugma alas 11 kotob alas 4. That's where it is. There it is. And that just means I'm working tomorrow 11 to 4. The fun thing about Bisaya and other Filipino things is that we're one of the colonized countries by Spain. Thank you, Spain. So a lot of our words are similar, and a lot of the times too, we just end up substituting like the Spanish word for the Filipino word, because upat is actually 4 in Bisaya, but when we say like 4 o'clock, we use the Spanish 4, which is cuatro, which is really funny. We just kind of put more of like a Filipino pronunciation on it, so it's like the Filipino accent instead of the Spanish accent. But they're like not super similar, but they're like next to each other. But yeah, ugma is tomorrow. Trabajo is work. Ka is the short form of ikaw, which is you. Ko is the short form of ako, which is me, or first person I. So again, trabaho ka ugma? Trabaho ko ugma alas 11 kotob alas 4. Actually, tomorrow my shift I think is 9 to 4, which sucks, but oh well. But that is more or less a full conversation. Yippee. I should really write down the phrases that I know in my notebook already, where I'm trying to keep them all. But I don't, because I keep forgetting, and I'm not good at writing either. One of the funniest things that can happen on stream is watching me try to type something out, because as it turns out, I'm really bad at spelling and writing and everything. And speaking. I was talking to my brother. It's funny. It's like I can't do it in front of people, but I swear I do it really, really good on my own. I'm gonna be quite honest, that was so much information and so fast that I couldn't learn. I can bring it back to that. Okay, so trabaho ka ugma. That's 3 words. The big thing about Filipino is that you kind of... I got dyslexia, so I can understand. I don't have dyslexia, so I don't have an excuse other than being stupid. But I'm sorry you got dyslexia. That must be rough. But trabaho ka ugma is, that's how you ask someone if they're working tomorrow in Bisaya. Trabaho is work. Ka is the short form of ikaw, which is the second person pronoun of you. And, ugma. And very specifically, ugma na ugma. It's very, like, staccato on that A there. Ugma is tomorrow. Now, you may be wondering, why does work come before the U? Shouldn't it be, like, the other way? And no, it's not. It's Bisaya and English are kind of reverse from where they put their subject and their verb. Capitalism, yes. Yeah. Capitalism bad, that's all we need to know. But so trabajo ka ugma, that's the 3 words. And then to respond to that, you can say trabajo ko ugma. Like, yeah, I'm working tomorrow. I like to add my shift to the end of that sentence. So it's like, oh, trabajo ko ugma a las 11 kotob a las 4. So to say the time in Bisaya, you say alas and then the time. So let's say it was like 11, like 15, for example. That would be alas 11, 11:15, because it's very like much like Spanish, but like very shorthanded in a way. So there's that. And trabajo again means work, go means I, ugma is tomorrow. So really the newest thing about that entire phrase is telling the time. Kotob is just to say, like, I think it must mean like until. I don't know the direct translation for this. My dad just told me how to say it, which is in classic I'm trying to learn a language from my parents' fashion where they don't explain the sentence, they just tell you the sentence and you're just there like, well, I no longer know how to deconstruct this. But kotob, I think, is pretty much like to say until. So alas 11 kotob alas 4 would translate like, oh, 11 until 4, something like that. So to put the whole sentence together again, trabajo ko ugma alas 11 kotob alas 4. Something like that. I believe I have that right. And then a fun thing about, a real quick fun thing about the thing too, you could also switch it for like the 3rd person pronoun, which is sila or sa, or si, I think. Like, if you were to ask, are they working tomorrow? Because our pronouns in Bisaya are, or the entirety of Filipino actually, is non-binary. Anything that gets gendered, that's like language headcanon made up by the Spanish at that point. So it's like, trabajo si ugma, or trabajo si ugma. And I think you would follow that up with, say, I'm gonna use Johnny's name, like, trabajo si Johnny ugma? Is Johnny working tomorrow? No. I don't think he is. I think he's got school, actually. But yeah, that's like pretty much the whole breakdown of it. I love that the language is non-binary, really. You'll see things like Filipina or well, they have other words, but I can't think of it at the moment. Where they do kind of tend to use the gender on that. But when you look at like the actual translations of a lot of the words, siya is really just like a singular they. And it's not really like he or she, it's very like, it is very much just it is just a singular they. Which is nice, because it's like, yeah, I agree, why don't we have this in English? We should just have this in English. This is so much easier than having like everything else. Not to say that pronouns aren't valid, it's just like, it's just nice that, the language is non-binary, if that makes sense. I like it a lot, because it's like, yeah, you should just say they, and when you look at the person, you should just know, like, the person that you're looking at, I think. And I think Filipino is kind of pog for that. Yeah. What time is it? Oh my god, it's 2:30 already. Oops. Well, that's just about the end of stream then. It's like 2:29. So this is where we left off. Let me also see if I can pull up the final, I can understand since German has mostly a friendly and polite version. Yeah, exactly. So, let's see. This downloads. We're gonna open this down here real quick. This was our final tier list for old art. The VODs do get uploaded to YouTube at the end of the day. Or right after stream, I don't know what time they upload, but they do. This was our final tier list, and this is where we left off with art. So, all of that being said, the little girl scares me. Wait, what little girl? Is it this one? In the sunflowers? See? I think I'm definitely in the right thing. Yeah. Yeah, that, to point out, what it was there was a week in Animal Crossing New Horizons, or it was like the first day of summer was there, and I had like a bunch of like clothes saved up for summer that looked really nice. And I was excited to wear them around my Animal Crossing island. And then it rained for like 5 days. So, whoopsies. So that's what that was. This is all old art. There's a lot of things that I don't think I'll redraw, but, it was funny looking back on them. Very embarrassing. Anyways, yeah, this is gonna take us to the end of stream. I had a lot of fun today doing this. This was a very, very silly idea, and I think, I would love to do it again in 5 years. I'd do it sooner, but, no. I don't have enough old art for that. Thank you all so much for coming around. It really does mean the world that people come here to listen to me yap about really dumb things. Next stream is gonna be Thursday. That one's probably gonna be Stardew. But if Johnny's tired, I can always, like, change that to, like, a different game, because I do need to play more games on stream. I still have to finish Hollow Knight. But yeah, looking forward to doing this again. I think I can have this up by tomorrow if I just work very diligently on it. Because we are on the rendering phase already. It shouldn't take all that long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great night or day. Great time zone, everyone. And I will see you all next time. Bye! Love you all.